Ubiri was a village like no other. By day, its people bustled with laughter and life. But by night, they became something else entirely. It was not by choice, but by a cause older than the bye-bye tree that stood as silent witnesses to their torment. In this village of secrets and shadows lived Ayo, the blacksmith. He dismissed the tales of curses and spirits as superstition. His world revolved around the clang of metal, the safety of one person only, his younger sister, Anu. One day, at the workshop, Anu tries to lift a hammer, but heavy for her, nearly dropping it on her foot. Ayo quickly catches it, shaking his head with mock sternness. He said, "How many times have I told you? Stay away from the forge, or you will end up with toes flatter than my anvil." Anu grinning. She said, "But I'm helping. One day I'll be a blacksmith too." Ayo replied, "Blacksmith? You? I thought you wanted to be a chief storyteller." Anu dreamily said, "Why not both? I will forge stories as well as swords." Ayo chuckles, ruffling her hair. As the night approaches, the villagers hurriedly close their doors. Mothers gather their children, and elders offer silent prayers under their breaths. Ayo noticed this and rolled his eyes. He said to Anu, "Why are they always running like the darkness has teeth? You would think people will grow tired of the same old stories." Anu looks up at him, her face thoughtful. She said, "But what if it's not just stories, Brother Ayo? What if the cause is real?" Ayo crouches to meet her gaze. His tone firm but gentle. He said, "Causes are for the gullible, Anu. Fear makes people imagine things that aren't even there. Remember that." Ayo stands brushing off his hand. The mist thickens and distant howls pierce the night. A silent harbinger of the horrors to come as the villagers retreat indoors. A solitary figure emerges from the midst at the edge of the forest. He brought with him a warning that would shatter the fragile balance of the village. Banjo strides into the village square, his presence commanding attention despite the empty streets. Ayo, returning from the forge with Anu trailing behind, notices him first. Ayo walks up to him and said, "Who are you, old man? And why have you come to Obiri at such cursed hour?" Banjo's gaze meets Ayo's. Unflinching, Banjo calmly introduced himself. "I am Banjo, a seer and a wanderer. I have come because this village stands at the edge of a great storm. The course you think you understand is about to change, and not for the better." The villagers speak cautiously from their windows, whispering among themselves. Ayo's expressions hardens, his provocative instincts kicking in as he shields Anu behind him. He challenges Banjo. He said, "We have had enough of tales and fearmongers. Save your warning for someone else." Banjo said authoritatively, "You think this curse is merely a nightly affliction? But its roots run deeper than you know. Boy, if you would protect your sister and your people, you will listen." Banjo strikes his staff against the ground to reveal the past. Many years ago, Obiri village was a thriving community. One full moon, during one of the annual bountiful harvest celebration, Chief Tunde, the village proud and ambitious leader, was addressing the villagers when a forest spirit, Osemele, appears at the edge of the celebration. He offers Chief Tunde a pact, internal prosperity in exchange for respect and periodic offerings to the forest. Osemele said, "Honor this band, Chief Tunde, and your people will never know hunger. But betray me, and the forest will claim what is sold with interest. Months later, Shiftunde, driven by greed and arrogance, refuses to honor the pact, keeping the offerings for himself and mocking the spirit's power. Osemele appears again, this time enraged, her form shifting into something monstrous. The villagers, gathered for a meeting, begin to writhe in pain as a full moon turns blood red. The spirit's voice echoes above their screams. Osemele cursed. You and your descendants will wear your true faces at night, beasts bound to the hunger and fury you have sown. Shiftunde himself transforms into a monstrous figure, his once proud face unrecognizable. And so, the curse was born, a punishment not just for Shiftunde, but for every soul tied to Obiri's soil, a legacy of betrayal passed down through generations. Banjo's revelation ended as he pulls back his staff. Anyo and the villagers now gathered in the square. Gravely, Banjo said, that blood red moon will rise again, but this time, the curse will not end at dawn. If you value your lives, you must uncover the truth and undo what was done. The villagers murmur in fear, while Ayo clenches his fist, his skepticism battling with the dread creeping into his heart. The crowd grows restless after Banjo's dream revelation. Mama Kudi said in disbelief, a blood red moon? What nonsense! We have survived this curse for generations. Why should we believe you? Banjo sternly warns, because the signs are already here. The mist grows thicker, the forest grows restless, and the howls you hear at night, they are louder, closer, and angrier. Ayo steps forward, frustration etched on his face. He said, enough of these riddles. If you know so much, tell us how to stop this curse. Or are you just another stranger here to stir fear and leave us in chaos? Banjo's gaze softens as he studies Ayo. He said, you are brave, blacksmiths, but bravery alone will not save you. To break this curse, you must uncover its final secrets, hidden deep within the forest. But beware, what you find there may destroy you. Ayo's fist clenched even harder as he glances at Anu, who is clenching his arm, her wide eyes filled with both fear and hope. Anu whispers, Ayo, what if he's telling the truth? What if we can end this for good? Ayo looks into her eyes, torn between skepticism and his desire to protect her. Later that night, the village falls into a restless silence as the full moon rises. The mist thickens, creeping into homes and calling under locked doors. Ayo is barricading the doors of their modest home when the distant sounds of screams pierces the air. As some villagers succumbing into the curse, their bodies twisting in agony, their skin takes on monstrous form, elongated limbs, jagged teeth, glowing yellow eyes. Scary! The beasts prowl the streets, clawing at walls, snaring at one another, and tearing apart anything in their paths. Ayo grabs a machete and positions Anu behind him, her small hands clutching the hem of his shirt. Terrified, Anu said to Ayo, what if we can't stop it? What if this is forever? Ayo firmly said, we will stop it. I swear it. We will survive tonight first. The beast outside grew louder, clawing at the door. Ayo holds his breath, his grip on the machete tightening. The next morning, as the first light of dawn breaks, the monsters retreat into shadows and the villagers awaken in their human forms. The streets are littered with destruction and the air is heavy with grief. Standing amidst the wreckage, Ayo confronts Banjo. You said the answer lies in the forest. What do we have to do? Banjo replied, the curse began with a betrayal. To end it, you must seek out Osemele and offer her what was denied, a true act of sacrifice. Mama Kudi fearfully said, no one who enters the forest ever returns. Anu said, they will go together, right, Ayo? Ayo shakes his head and said no. End of discussion. The next afternoon, while Ayo is busy hammering at his forge, his face tense with worry, Ayo glanced at Anu. Anu's curiosity has grown unbearably since Banjo's arrival. She believes that the cause must be linked to the ancient forest surrounding Obiri, and the answers lies within. While Ayo is distracted with a visiting elder, Anu slips out of the door, clutching a lantern and a map. She heads towards the forest. Meanwhile, Ayo notices the eerie silence in the house. He calls out, Anu! Panic sets in as he searches every corner. His heart pounds when he notices the door slightly ajar and the map missing from Banjo's belongings. Bursting outside, he yells, his voice echoing through the village. Anu, where are you? Villagers gather. An elderly woman yearns. The forest at night? She's doomed. No one survives out there after dark. But Ayo refuses to accept this. He grabs his machete and lantern, determined to venture out, but Banjo holds him back. She is gone beyond our reach now. You will only condemn yourself, Banjo says grimly. Ayo paces relentlessly. The sun's final rays vanished. A chill wind blows. As the night approaches, the villagers begin to convulse, their bodies contouring into agonizing movements, their humanity being overtaken by monstrous forms. One woman's arm elongates into claws, appendages, her face sticks with tears. Another man's back arched painfully. By midnight, they were no longer themselves. Yet fragments of their souls remained, enough to feel the pain, enough to remember who they once were. Ayo fights against this transformation longer than the others. His anguish fueled by his need to protect Anu. But even he succumbs, falling to his knees as his skin darkens and his eyes glow of unnatural yellow. His last human thought is of Anu's small face. The monsters prowl the village. Meanwhile, Anu's lantern flickers as she stumbles through dense forest. Anu dashed deep into the forest and continued her journey. Moments later, Ayo steps into the thick forest. He gripped slightly to the glowing charm Banjo handed him. Ayo knew that time was slipping away, each passing moment pulling Anu further into the forest grasp. The charm was his only guide, and the reason is in a human form, taunting him, pulling at his fears. At one point, he hears some sound. It sounds like Anu's voice calling out, Ayo, help me! He rushes forward, only to find himself face to face with a shadowy creature. The creature lunges at him. Ayo barely dodges, using the charm's light to repel it. The light causes the creature to screech and retreat, its form dissolving into mist. Ayo pants, realizing the charm's power. As he ventures deeper, the forest becomes increasingly treacherous. He came across a crystal clear pool blocking his path, reflecting not his face but his monstrous form during the course. Ayo hesitates, haunted by the vision, but presses further. Finally, Ayo freezes at the sight of Anu and Osemele, his breath catching in his throat. Anu turns to him, her eyes wide with a mixture of relief and determination. Osemele said, here comes another descendant of Tunde. What can you possibly offer me that I have not already taken? Anu pleading with Ayo. Ayo, you shouldn't have come. It's the only way to save everyone. Osemele's voice is deep and resonant. She said, this child has made a bargain. It declares one life to free the many, a fair exchange. Don't you think? Ayo steps forward, his voice shaking but resolute. No, she's just a child. Take me instead. I will bear the cost. Osemele's form flickers, its eyes narrowing as it studies Ayo. You will sacrifice yourself for her? Ayo nods. Yes. Anu is innocent, and the villagers, they are my people. No matter what. A tense argument unfolds between the siblings, their love and desperation clashing as the spirit watches silently. Finally, Osemele raises a hand, silencing them. She said, it is rare to witness such devotion. It amuses me. Perhaps the course has run its course, but sacrifices must still be made. Osemele presents a cruel choice. One of you must take the course willingly and forever, or both of you perish, and the course remains. As Osemele prepares to take Anu, Ayo suddenly steps forward, planting himself between Anu and Osemele. He said, no, this ends with me. Anu grabs his arm, her voice trembling. Ayo, no, you can't. Please, don't leave me. Osemele, watching interestingly, raises its hand and the charm in Ayo's grip glows brighter than ever. You choose willingly. It asks. Its voice resonates with finality. Ayo nods. Yes, take me. The transformation begins immediately. Ayo's body convulses as roots and vines erupt from the ground. His cries of pain echo through the clearing, mingling with Anu's sobs. His skin hardens, taking on the texture of bark, stands as a colossal guardian. Osemele said, the curse is broken, but sacrifices leave scars. Your pain will anchor this village, and your love will protect this village. This is the pact. It gestures, and the glow from the charm spreads, shattering the invisible chains that bound the village. Ayo, now fully transformed, and so the curse that had plagued Ubiri for centuries was lifted. Its weight now borne by one man's unyielding love. As the dawn breaks and the villagers awaken to find themselves whole, confusion turns to joy and joy to celebration as they realize the curse is gone. Anu stands at the edge of the forest, staring up at the towering figure of her brother. She presses her small hand against the back of his leg, whispering, I will make sure they never forget you. So, Obiri tried. Its people free to live, love, and laugh. But they never forgot the guardian in the forest, the one who gave all so they could have everything. Thank you so much for watching. See you on the next episode. Ó dàbọ̀.